This place is called Austin Speed Shop. It's just a custom car shop, you know. We specialize in like old style craftsmanship and stuff that's timeless. Today I've never felt better about myself and where I am in life because I've eliminated everything that's not working on cars or motorcycles. And that's truly what makes me happy. Back in the early 90s when I was working for Performance Machine, you know, motorcycle building and custom bike building wasn't really a profession. Once came up with a product, which was the Fenders, and started making them, then it made, when money started coming in, then it all of a sudden made sense to everyone and helped my business grow. So we're gonna make some Fenders. It's kind of cool because my whole business like really took off when I started making Fenders, and I refined this whole process of metal spinning them in halves and then welding them together. And like, you know, I made the first big Fenders for like fat tire Harleys back in the early 90s. You know, we did that process forever, for better part of 20 years. And then now we've kind of, you know, but making, I don't even need to do it like that. I can make them, you know, as I've learned more and more metal work, I can make them just by flat sheet, you know. And so I figure we should do one with like, out of aluminum for my little knucklehead. You know, pretty simple stuff to do, but you know, this is something that people can learn, you know, as they get more tools and better stuff in their garage, they can learn how to do it, so. In the last year at the Speed Shop, it's like I've kind of like managed from afar and just given blips of advice here and there, but now I've stepped in and kind of taken an active role in managing the place and giving it structure and basically helping push those guys and let them, you know, they don't know how hard they could be working, trying to get projects out the door. And just, I don't know, I can only sit back and watch so long, and like, I just want to push them and keep getting cool stuff out there. So I'm good at making crews work.
Working with Jesse's been really cool. Been picking up a lot of small things and big things. I mean, the more things you can do with one tool, like opening up more options when building something, instead of like doing it one way that I've always done it. Now there's like a few more. So getting a job done faster is gonna be easier, or like figuring out how to make a part in one piece instead of like two maybe, stuff like that.
Oh yeah, he's a good teacher. Guys like him almost don't even have to teach. Just being able to sit next to him, you pretty much get to see his process and how Jesse like goes about doing things, and like almost what you focus on the most and what your like end product is, and like the ways to get there, and like just your little techniques that you picked up over the years and years and years. I busted that out in like an hour and a half the other night.
Why is it all rusted?
It was just a rusty piece of metal in the yard.
Why didn't you clean it before you did it?
I did. It's been like 3 days though, 4 days, it started rusting again. Just wanted to practice making an edge over though, and English wheel.
Looks good. When you build a boat, it'll be good for the boat trailer.
All right, that's what I figured.
Where's your practice piece at? To try to impress the teacher. We can anneal it. We don't have a radius gauge, do we?
No. Yeah, that's what I was wondering if you had one.
Yeah, cloth tape. A cloth tape measure. Oh, I have one. Okay. So we'll measure this thing first.
Pull it out of your utility belt?
Yeah. This tire's pretty square, which I don't even want to entertain making it square, because I'll probably change it to a nicer radial tire. I just want to get like how much coverage we need. So right there is about 10 inches of material, you know, giving it about 1 inch coverage. And you know, for car tires and bike tires, this is kind of almost a car profile bike tire, but the average is they grow 5% in overall.
While it's driving?
Yeah, so that's the rule of thumb. So if this thing, you know, just equal, if it's 28 inches tall, then 5% of that is how much it's gonna grow. I usually set it a minimum 3/4, you know, but the cars you can set a little bit tighter, But if the tire pressure gets low, that thing's gonna oblong, you know, like a top fuel tire, and it'll burn the paint or kill the fender. Bikes, you also got to consider too that to get it on, get the chain on, you have to be able to slide it forward, you know, and then have a certain amount of adjustment. So you probably need a little bit more clearance in front than you do at the visible gap. You know, I always cheat. You know, I'll fit it super tight here so it looks like it's a close fit, and leave the sides long, and then I'll adjust it, and then I'll take a scribe off the axle, and I'll cut the sides out so it looks like it's fit perfect and tight, but it has extra gap in the front. So the fender will be one radius, and then the actual side cutout will be offset. And I cheat like that so it looks like it's super, super tight, and it's got, you know, when you're standing at the back of the bike, it's like right on the tire, and you're like, man, that looks good. But really, it's got plenty of room around there, so you can adjust it, or if the axle loosens up and it cocks the wheel or something, it doesn't kill it. So, you know, that's the factors you got to think in, you know. So we'll go a little extra length. So 28 inches, and then probably go 29. So we have extra wing for that 1/2 inch flap. So what are we, 11 by 29? So do you want to cut a piece 11 inches by 29 inches?
Cool.
And then we'll anneal it up and we'll start shaping. I'll show you guys how to figure in the radius.